President Biden is in Angola today, becoming the first sitting U.S. president to visit the African country. The trip is also Biden's first to a sub-Saharan nation as president. Biden is there in part to promote a multi-billion-dollar rail project that the U.S. hopes will counter Beijing's influence in the region. The project would connect the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Zambia to Angola's port of Lobito, allowing the U.S. to exploit the region's vast mineral resources, including copper and cobalt. The ongoing plundering of resources from the DRC by the U.S. and Europe has led to decades of devastating war, poverty, and environmental destruction. President Biden's visiting Angola as the country prepares to mark the 50th anniversary of its 1975 independence from Portugal. Biden's meeting today with Angola's president. He's also scheduled to give a speech at the country's National Slavery Museum. We're joined now by two guests. Antonio Tomas is an Angolan scholar and associate professor of anthropology at the University of California, Irvine. He's the author of In the Skin of the City, Spatial Transformation in Luanda, and is completing a new book about the civil war in Angola. And Zenaida Machado is the Angola and Mozambique senior researcher at Human Rights Watch. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Antonio Tomas, let's begin with you. Can you talk about the significance of President Biden first sitting U.S. president to visit Angola, and tell us about Angola's history?
Amy, thank you so much and for having me. It's a historical trip to Angola. It's a historical visit, particularly in the context of the relationships between Angola and U.S. As we know, Angola and U.S. haven't been properly friends or foes, in the sense that Angola took the side of communist pro-Soviet during the Cold War, right? And then the U.S. were supporting the regimes that tried to uproot the MPLA from power, right? First on the side of the Portuguese during colonialism, and then on the side of FNLA, and then UNITA, and so on. The U.S. only recognized Angola's independence in 1991, 16 years after Angola became independent in 1975. And of course, it has been an effort of, it's a victory of Angolan diplomacy, and because a lot of people have put money and resources and time to get these trips, to get these visiting happening, but it comes also with a lot of problems.
And you mentioned the civil war that occurred, all the great powers that got involved. Also, Cuba supplied up to 50,000 soldiers to support the MPLA in that war. What was the outcome after the MPLA was able to be victorious in terms of the social conditions of the people of Angola?
It has to be said that the U.S. has always been on the losing side in all the major interventions in Angola, right? They were with the Portuguese lost. They were with FNLA lost. They were with Savimbi's UNITA, and Savimbi UNITA lost, right? And now they're with the MPLA, and I believe that MPLA lost the next election as well. So the U.S. has always been on the losing side when it comes to Angola. And of course, it was a major confrontation of two mighty powers during the Cold War. On the one side, the Angola government, the forces of Angolan government, backed by Soviet Union and Cuban troops and so on. And the other side, apartheid South Africa, backed by CIA and supporting UNITA, Savimbi, and so on. And it was tragic for the country, because we're still facing a lot of problems. We're still solving problems of the consequences and how the Cold War has played out in Angola, with millions of people dead, millions of people displaced. We still have a lot of, landmines that still have to be extracted from the soil. And the country is still grappling with all these consequences of the Cold War.